Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, evening, morning, whatever time it is for you. I am Dr. Justin Pearce in the Thyroid Women's Hormones Women's Support Group today, and super excited to go over some fun information with you guys. We're going to talk about blood sugar, we're going to talk about insulin, and some things that we can do to support it so that we can get well and not have a lot of these issues and symptoms. But then the question is always, what are issues, what are symptoms of blood sugar imbalances? So if any of these are true, there's things that we got to do, and we'll talk about some steps and things that you can take to start helping with the insulin and your sugar. But you might have blood sugar issues if you crave sweets or breads and pastries a lot. Probably most of us can be guilty of that one, right? And so do you crave sweets? Do you crave breads and pastas? Are you eating sweets and it doesn't really relieve your sugar craving? Actually, it makes it worse and almost makes you just like want more of the bad stuff. You become, and this one might not be you, it might be more of your spouse, right? But you become irritable or hangry. If you miss a meal, you might have some blood sugar issues. You find yourself needing caffeine to get through the day, and then more caffeine to just keep going, and it's just this vicious cycle. You get lightheaded if you miss meals. Eating makes you exhausted, like you need to go take a nap. Not good, signs of blood sugar imbalances. It's really, really hard for you to lose weight. Anybody in this here always want to lose weight, trying to lose weight, can't lose weight, have issues? It's like, just watch what you eat and exercise and you lose it. Well, maybe there's some blood sugar issues, maybe there's some adrenal issues, maybe there's some hormonal issues, a lot of other things underneath we can't just look at eating and exercise. There's so much things to you and to your body and to be healing and to get to a state of optimal health, okay? You feel shaky, jittery, or you have to pee you frequently. So you're peeing a lot, waking up through the night, peeing, whatnot. You get agitated, easily upset, nervous out of, like for no reason. Like you just blow up out of nowhere. Might be some blood sugar issues. Your memory is not what it used to be. Brain fog, forgetfulness, right? And then those types of things. And one thing that they have said, we know type 1 diabetes, we know type 2 diabetes. Anybody heard of type 3 diabetes? Type 3 diabetes, they're finding out that insulin is produced in the brain as well, and just like it becomes resistant and burns out in your pancreas and in your body, we start to develop that burnout of that resistance in our brain, and now we don't feed the brain the nutrition, and the cells can't absorb the sugars to be able to let go, and then it burns out, and then all of a sudden it's type 3 diabetes, or it's dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and those kind of things, which obviously are on a rise as we go and live today. Vision blurry can be a sign of blood sugar issues. Waist measurement is equal to or larger than your hips. Obviously, that's not good. We know weight loss can be a big thing to help with inflammation in general and inflammatory responses. Sex drive is low. Sex drive is low is a big time issue with blood sugar, or you're just always thirsty and don't feel like you can ever be satisfied by drinking enough water. And then we got to talk about minerals and some other things as well, which we'll get into some of that. But I want to take just one quick second, take a step back, and I want to tell you a little bit of the sciencey stuff behind it, and to understand what insulin and glucose and sugar and blood sugar and how the cells work and how we need sugar, but obviously how we eat too much of it. So basically, when you eat, your body sends a signal to your cells. The beta cells in your pancreas will produce insulin, and this will go tell your cells to use glucose or blood sugar as fuel. So the cells get this knocking on the door, ding, 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 open the door. It says, hey, I need you to take more sugar in so that you can have the energy to go on with your day, so that you can repair your cells, so you can repair your muscles and your tissues from exercising, whatever it looks like. Because otherwise, if you don't do that, you will start to put on body fat. And that's what insulin resistance starts to happen, is like insulin resistant is when your body, the insulin tells the cells that fuel is coming, the sugar is coming, the glucose is coming, they need to be ready. But they don't open up. They basically ignore you. It's like you're trying to tell your kid to do something and they're sitting on an iPad and they're just ignoring you, and you're just knocking. So then you send more people, or send your wife or your spouse in there. It's like, hey, you got to get this done. You keep knocking on this door, but nobody's answering. Send more people to knock on this door. Nobody's answering. So we increase our insulin, and then all of a sudden, since we're not taking that sugar, the sugar has to go somewhere, so it will just stay in the bloodstream. and then that sugar will convert and store as fat. So that is kind of the science behind how it all looks and how it works. And here's the reality: we do need sugar to survive. Absolutely, without a doubt, we need sugar. But the problem is, and the reality is, do you think we eat too much sugar or too little sugar, right? And we eat way too much gosh darn sugar, and that's a big problem and a big issue. So that's one of the things when we talk about natural ways to improve blood sugar, or like triggers of blood sugar imbalance. Let's start number one with like nutrition. You got to eat good. We know that. We know we need to eat better. We know we need to eat right. We know we probably shouldn't go to McDonald's and go to these fast food restaurants. We know an apple is probably better than a donut, but then the donuts are in front of us. We choose the donuts because we don't have self-discipline, or we're too stressed or whatever, and all those things play roles in it, right? And so nutrition is important. So then people always ask, like, and one kind of disclaimer is like, you watch these videos and we come in here and everybody's like, what is the one secret thing for me to take? What's the one supplement for me to take? What's the one diet that I can do to change everything? The reality is everybody's different. There is not a quick fix. There is not a pill that you can take that is just going to shove your diabetes gone, your blood sugar gone, or any of the other symptoms and things you have. It's lifestyle changes, okay? So I just wanted to say that real quick. But when it comes to diet and what kind of diet is right for you, specifically for blood sugar, well, first of all, we got to cut down the sugar and the things that convert to sugars. And again, we'll talk about that as we go. But the best diet for you to eat is an anti-inflammatory whole food diet. And you take into account the foods that you are allergic to. Because if you are allergic to broccoli and cauliflower and lettuce and rice and tomatoes and onions and garlic and celery and almonds and just like all these good healthy things and healthy fats and whatnot, but you're allergic to it, you are triggering more inflammatory responses and reactions in the body, and that is a big, big problem. So you need to eat good, whole food, anti-inflammatory type of a diet. But I think food allergies is very, very, very important if you're trying to get inflammatory responses and trying to balance blood sugar, you're trying to fix hormones, adrenals, whatever it is. Food allergies does play a big role. So I just want to throw that part out. Number one. Number two, we talk about exercise. We all know exercise is important. Yes, and yes, no one can deny that. Exercise is a very important part to not just blood sugar regulation, but the reality is just like overall health and longevity. We need to move, we need to exercise. We need to move, we need to exercise. And we need to rinse and repeat and recycle and keep going. This is not something that you just do because you're young or because you're old or because you exercise so that you have your life. I exercise almost every single day, and it just feels so good. And the biggest, some of the benefits of exercise, yeah, sure, energy, and yeah, it will help to manage your blood sugar and whatnot, but it helps to do it in more than just one way. So when you are exercising, your muscles will need to take up more glucose in order for the energy in the tissue to be repaired. So it will lower your blood sugar in the process. Long-term exercise, so short-term can help to just really get that blood sugar lower, but long-term exercise also makes the cells more responsive to insulin and helps to prevent the resistance. So if you have family history of diabetes and sugars and insulin issues, exercise is important to do. And obviously we got to take into account working out for your hormones and for your cycles, and not to overtax your adrenals and whatnot, and doing a little bit of stretching and yogas and calming things on one week, and doing the higher intensity and then back to the lower intensity and back to the higher intensity stuff. But again, we'll talk about that at a different time. Exercise is a big key into you feeling better, number one, but into you being able to prevent blood sugar, insulin spikes, and insulin resistance and whatnot. So exercise, get out and walk, get out and move. One thing, as I was reading and looking into some things yesterday, but they were talking about, like, if you're going to have a cheat meal, if you're going to eat cheesecake, you got cheesecake right in front of you, it's like, I want it so bad, what do I do? Should I eat it? Should I not eat it? If you choose to do it, which is fine, you're going to do it every now and again, and that's okay. One thing that you can do is get out and walk for 30 minutes, because it's going to spike your blood sugar, it's going to spike your insulin. But at least if I'm walking and I'm moving, I'm exercising, I'm stretching the body and the tissues and the muscles are going to absorb more of that glucose, so that we can minimize any of those negative effects. So just a little tip, at least if you're going to have a cheat or a cheat meal or whatever, take your dog on a walk, go for a 30-minute walk with your spouse or whatever. That will make all the difference in the world, but you need to do it like right after if you're going to do that to see those benefits. So that's one thing. Another thing we'll talk about is stress, and we talk about stress all the time because, again, stress is so important to overall health. Stress is basically gasoline to a fire. Fires are things that burn down your house and cause symptoms, cause issues, right? Cause leaky gut, cause adrenals, cause autoimmunity, whatever it is. And so stress is something that we have to take care of. And what's one of the cheapest and easiest things you can do for your health is like manage your stress better. So some breath work, some breathing, some gratitude, some mindfulness, some stretching, some yoga, whatever that looks like for you. But stress is super vitally important, again, especially for females. And remember, women lack the ability to digest and break down stress the way men do. And so little bits or big bits of stress, it really doesn't matter. It's going to trigger past viral issues. It's going to trigger inflammatory immune reactions. It's going to raise the blood sugar. It's going to cause insulin resistance. It's going to cause so many health issues. So stress is one of the biggest things that you can do. And in fact, in our summer slim down challenge, that's one of the biggest things that we're trying to get. Is yes, we got the nutrition. So we got the nutrition all set up for you, built-in intermittent fasting. We'll talk about the benefits of that. The nutrition to help to lower blood sugar and stabilize that and help you with losing weight and just getting ready for the summer. But one of the biggest things that we do is in the morning, every single morning, we are developing a morning routine of stress management and movement so we can get our day started right. I will drop a link at some point here in the chat so everybody can have it, but that summer slim down would be a great place to start if people are not sure exactly what to do, even after listening to all this stuff. So stress. Also, when you stress, you raise cortisol. And when you're stressed and you have a higher cortisol, do you crave like broccoli and hummus? Or do you crave, I don't know, whatever sugary type stuff or drinks or foods or alcohol or things that you want or your body's telling you want because of that cortisol? So we have to be very careful about supporting and managing the stress so that we can keep our cortisol under control, okay? We doing good so far? Everybody following and listening? Yes, thumbs up in the comments for me. That would be very nice to know that I am being heard a little bit, right? So, couple other things we can do, especially if we have blood sugar issues or have any of those signs and symptoms that I said in the beginning, is antioxidants are very important. Antioxidants are important for a lot of things, for immune system, for detoxification, for cell energy production, for strengthening the immune system, for so much different things. So antioxidants are going to be very, very important, okay? We can supplement with them, or there are definitely different nutritional things that you can do. I would say just a couple things like, green tea, apples, turmeric, grapes, rosemary, broccoli, garlic, to name a few things nutritionally that can help to stimulate more antioxidants in your body to help with the overall healing and help with, again, sugar regulation, because that is what we are talking about right now. The other thing is, and there's so much different science and research behind this, is like, well, you should eat every couple hours, you should eat once a day, you should never eat, you should eat, it's like to feed your metabolism. It's just crazy, right? All the stuff that is out there and that they talk about. But one of the things is like you eat too many snacks. It's probably because you're not eating enough fibers and proteins and like a good, well-balanced meal in the first place. And then our blood sugar is high, and then we have the insulin resistance, and our cells aren't doing it or aren't opening up to absorb it. And so like we just kind of keep eating and keep eating and keep eating because we never feel full because we have some hormonal imbalance issues going on there. But constantly snacking will keep your blood and insulin levels spiked, and they never have time to calm down and balance out. And that is why intermittent fasting is a big key. And this is part of the summer slim down challenge, is implementing intermittent fasting. Does anybody intermittent fast? What does intermittent fasting mean? There's so many different ways to fast. You could do it in, eat in an 8-hour window, fast for 16 hours. It can be, you can change the numbers around. Hell, you can do a 23-hour fast and have one meal a day, and eat in 1 hour. So there's so many different ways to fast. But fasting is very important to help to kind of cut the curve the cravings and the needs or the wants for the bad foods or constant snacking. So intermittent fasting, if you've never done it, it's definitely something that you will want to start implementing and trying out as soon as possible. Another thing is you're low potentially in micronutrients. Now you're probably low in macronutrients as well. Why? Because we live in America and we have this something called the SAD diet, right? The standard American diet. And it is just on the go. We never have time. We don't meal plan. We're eating out. We're eating bad fats. We're eating trans fats. We're eating sugar, 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 carbs, carbs, carbs. And so we're really not getting proper nutrition. That's on a macro level, but a micro level, something as important as magnesium. And I'm sure you guys know a little bit about magnesium and have heard about magnesium, but there's this study, I'll just read this to you here real quick. It says they took 5,000 people who took high doses of magnesium for 15 years, had a decreased risk of metabolic syndrome, which is often a marker for diabetes. And then it says after 5 years, those who consistently had greater magnesium intake had better insulin sensitivity. Magnesium also can help to lower diabetes risks, like lowering blood pressure and triglycerides as well. Magnesium can help with sleep. Magnesium can help with bowel movements. Magnesium can help with muscle calming and just relaxation and help with stress management and support. Magnesium is one of the biggest micronutrient deficiencies that we have. Potentially potassium is just right up there as well, but magnesium has been shown to support blood sugar and insulin and help with all the other things we talked about. Magnesium is a big, 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 great thing. Also, when we talk about stress, I'll put this in the comments here. Dr. Shannyn has this supplement, if you've ever tried it or not, but it's called Joyful. And it's for mood support, so it helps to kind of strengthen emotional stability, combat cravings. It has magnesium, and again, 5 years of taking magnesium consistently reduces, your blood sugar, your insulin sensitivity. It reduces triglycerides and blood pressure and all kinds of things. So this would be something that you would want to take long term because it has the magnesium, but it also helps and supports all the neurotransmitters and the stress responses as well. Because again, we talk about stress and how beautifully amazing it is to take control of. So there is the product to Joyful. Yes, it went through. Perfect there. So yes, magnesium, lots of science, lots of research to show that it is very important for you to take to support blood sugar. Sleep. Man, we talk about sleep. Magnesium is something that can help with sleep. So here's another thing that magnesium can help with. But we know sleep is important. We need sleep to heal, to regenerate. We have to have good quality sleep. We have to go to bed at a good time. We should be going to bed 9, 10 o'clock. We should not be going to bed at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. That is a big problem. So building that habits and building those routines to set your time and follow your circadian rhythm is very, very important. Sleep, men probably get away with 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Women probably need more 8 to 10, and 10 on the higher side. They need more sleep than men do. But sleep is a big issue because if you're not sleeping well, our blood sugars will rise, and then we get less sleep. And then all of a sudden, when you wake up in the morning, you ever had a bad night of sleep and you wake up in the morning and you were just starving? Why am I so hungry? Well, because the sleep affects your blood sugar, the blood sugar affects your sleep, and they just go hand in hand together. And so that's why people who usually don't sleep well are just at a greater risk for diabetes, blood sugar, insulin resistance, those kinds of things. And so make sure females 8 to 10, men 6 to 8 hours of sleep is done every single night. And whatever you got to do to figure it out, to put the kids up or do this or go to bed earlier, there's some videos and stuff you can go back and look on sleep and some sleep tips and how to make sure you get to sleep. But again, magnesium is something that can help with that, plus the micronutrients, plus the blood pressure, plus the sugar regulation, all those things as well. Stress management, breath work, breathing is also very vital and important to calm down before you actually go to sleep. Water-soluble vitamins. Especially MTHFR, there's a lot of stuff about that out there, and methylation. But methylation is basically your body's biochemical superhighway that controls a lot of aspects of your body, of detoxification and whatnot, but especially with methylation. And so taking proper B vitamins is very important. You can get it from dark leafy greens like spinach and okra and turnips and grass-fed beefs and livers and stuff. So there's a bunch of different ways to get it nutritionally. But it's hard to find good supplements B vitamin wise. So our favorite way to go is something called the glandular complex. And so it is beef liver, and it's got some other ones in there. What else does it have in there? It's got beef liver, heart, beef kidney, pancreas, and spleen. So it's just a bunch of different pancreas to support insulin, support blood sugar, a bunch of vitamins and minerals at its most bioavailable form. The glandular complex, and again, I'll put that link in the chat as well, but the glandular complex is the best multivitamin that you could take. We're not taking all the FDA, RDA doses of, B and C and zinc and and all these things which you can't absorb and you just urinating out. We're taking these glandular based supplements so that we can absorb and digest them so much better and so much easier, and it's the proper forms of B vitamins and different things that we need. And so if you're looking for a multivitamin, if you're looking for good B vitamin support, the glandular complex is the answer for sure. Great multivitamin, you will enjoy that. But yes, we do need water-soluble vitamins, and we do need a good multivitamin. Again, a bioavailable form like glandular complex is the way to go. Then the next thing we talk about when we're talking about triggers of blood sugar imbalance and ways to improve it is, what about fat-soluble vitamins? Okay? Yeah, vitamin E is a good one that we talk about, but I think the biggest one that I want to mention and talk about is vitamin D. Vitamin D deficiency is a big deal in America, well, hell, in this world today. And there are research studies that show like vitamin D levels being, and I'll be close to the numbers, like being, I think it's like 17 different cancers that if you can get your vitamin D levels between that 80 and 120 range, which the medical range is over 30 is like normal, but you want to be 80 to 100 to be in that range where you literally like fight 17 different forms of cancer that you'll never get just from having your vitamin D levels at a proper range. And so we probably supplement, especially in the wintertime, with 5,000 IUs of vitamin D. K1 and K2 help to absorb it and stuff as well. In the summertime, you can take a little bit less, and if you're really low, you might need to double up from 5 to 10 to just get those levels normal, and then you can be on a balanced, regular ongoing thing of 5,000. That's a good number to be at. But vitamin D, so yes, it can fight a lot of cancers and stuff, but there's another research study that 12 weeks of vitamin D supplementation, listen to this one right here, I just put the vitamin D in there, I think people are going to want it after this one. Research showed that after 12 weeks of vitamin D supplementation, body fat was lowered by 7%. 12 weeks of vitamin D supplementation, body fat was lowered by 7%. And this is important because obviously lower weight, everybody wants, but that also helps to manage blood sugar. Also having low vitamin D affects all of the metabolic issues as well as all the cancers and other things in the immune system that we talked about. So vitamin D is a no-brainer when you're trying to balance the blood sugar and just reach optimal health. Another thing that we talk about, especially when we're talking about nutrition and blood sugar and stuff, is your gut and your microbiome. And everybody talks about gut and leaky gut and all these different things out there today. And gut health is so important. I mean, everything's going to go into that gut. I need proper stomach acid to be able to break down and digest food so I can absorb foods and nutrition, so I can absorb the vitamins and nutrients and minerals and the vitamin D and the glandular complex and the magnesium stuff that I'm taking to help to stabilize blood sugar. But remember, what happens with your gut is especially as we age, we have less stomach acid. And when you have less stomach acid, all of a sudden you're not going to be able to break down things. So we're not going to be able to absorb things. We lost a line of defense, in other words. And so when we lose that line of defense, now we allow pathogens and bacteria and yeast and molds and viruses and foods and whatnot to get into the intestinal tract, and then the fire burns the holes in the gut, if you will, and that will cause leaky gut. Now all of a sudden they're getting into the bloodstream, getting systemic and causing aches and pains and stiffness and tightness and causing adrenals and hormones and thyroid and autoimmunity and all these other things, as well as obviously with causes blood sugar issues, because now it doesn't matter if I'm eating good or bad, I can't break it down, my body doesn't know what's going on, I got all this blood sugar going on in my bloodstream, my insulin is going up, my cells aren't listening, there's a communication issue, there's hormonal imbalances, and it's just this vicious cycle. So again, there is not just one thing to give you, one thing for you to do, one thing for that's going to just transform and change everything. It is you as a whole. It's not just going to my medical doctor and getting on metformin to control my blood sugar. It's not just getting on insulin to control things. It's not a drug or a pill to fix you. It's you making the proper lifestyle choices and going through these last few things that we've talked about and implementing things that you can reach the health that you want. And so yes, blood sugar and your gut and your microbiome are very important and very vital. We need to make sure that we don't have other different bacteria and yeast overgrowths that go in there. What about parasites? So I think stool testing becomes very important. We can look at, are you breaking down your nutrients? Are you breaking down carbohydrates? Are you breaking down fats? How is all that going in your system, so that we can put together a specific plan? Because what's wrong and what your cause of what your trigger is, it's not the other people on this video or people that I'm going to talk to today. Everybody is unique and different, and we have to understand your lifestyle and help you in order to help you get there. But again, going back to the summer slim down challenge, is like, it's a good starting point for you. You get on the summer slim down, you start working through the anti-inflammatory diet. You get on summer slim down, you start working on stress and stress management. You get on a few supplements that help stimulate metabolism and help to support health and inflammation, and you see a big difference. But gut health, yes, gut health is a big problem in our society today, and something that needs to be addressed and dealt with. The other thing is, when we're eating, and we're talking about, especially when we're talking about blood sugars and stuff, well then what kind of sweeteners do we use? We still want something like, to make our food taste sweeter. But when you start doing the low fat, no fat, and by the way, anything that says low fat, no fat on it, I just throw it away. I'm done with it. We don't buy it. We don't look at it. We pass it. It is not good for you. But then it says sugar free. That's a big warning flag and red flag to me as well, because I look at sugar free. It means that they got the artificial sweeteners in there. The artificial sweeteners are probably worse than the sugar, and the sugar we talk about all the time about how bad it is. So you got to watch out for Splendas and Stevias and like diet sodas and diet pops and different things like that, because those become big issues and things that we want to avoid at all costs. Okay. Stevias and xylitols and maybe some honeys and different things like that are okay, but we got to be careful. The other thing too, and I don't think I said this earlier, but like, we also have to be careful about fruits, because too much fruit is too much sugar. Fruit is good for us. It's got a good balance of fibers and sugars and glucose and things that are fructose that our body needs. But too much fruit is too much sugar, and your body just doesn't know the difference between the glucose supposed to go in the bloodstream, between the fructose supposed to go and get digested through the liver. And speaking of liver, we could do a whole video on liver and just itself. Supporting liver is very important, which is, I think, the glandular complex is such a good multivitamin because it supports the liver and the detoxification pathways. But be careful with eating too much fruits, and we want to err on the side of eating the less sugary, lower glycemic fruits than the higher ones. So like melons, berries, Granny Smith apples, lemons, limes, instead of like the red apples or pears or cherries, watermelons, the things that are very, very sugary. So be careful eating too much fruit. Some other mistakes that people are using is that we're not eating enough fat, specifically healthy fats. Like, we don't want to eat a bunch of trans fats and a bunch of those kind of things, but we want to eat good healthy fats. Omega-3s are really good for lowering your heart attack risk and your stroke risk, but also can help to support diabetes, because again, diabetes is going to help to increase the risk of heart disease and strokes and whatnot, right? And so be careful with that. Make sure you're eating good proper fats, not necessarily eating all the fatty standard American diet things, right? So be careful with that as well. Natural sweeteners, talked about that really quickly, but natural sweeteners are just things that we want to avoid. I'm sorry, the wrong natural sweeteners are things we want to avoid. The Splendas, the Stevias, the yellow, green, blue packets. If you ever go to a Starbucks and there's no yellow, green, blue packets in the little the little coffee bar area right there, it's probably because I was there and I threw those all away to save somebody. The neurotransmitters that it affects, the brain health that it affects, it is just some of the worst things that it can do. But it also just increases fatty liver disease, it increases insulin resistant issues in you. It's just a thing you got to be very careful with and avoid the artificial sweeteners, and make sure you're using the proper natural sweeteners there. Then we're going to talk about too much grain. So again, top mistakes people that eat when eating to rebalance blood sugar. Too much grains. We know gluten is bad, so we're trying to avoid gluten. We try to avoid gluten, and then some people are just like, well, I just want my gluten. It's like, okay, well, do you want all the health issues that come with that as well? So gluten obviously is impactful on our health, but having too much grains can also be still impactful on our health. So we switch from gluten-free grains to more whole sprouted grains and other options, but now we're still eating too much of it, which is stimulating, spiking our blood sugar, and contributes to inflammation and insulin resistance. So be careful, be careful, be careful with grains, and even too much grains is better said, but too much good food is still too much good food. You know, bad food is just bad food, but too much good food can also cause problems because it's going to help to spike inflammation and insulin resistance and blood sugar. What about starchy vegetables? Too many starchy vegetables. You know, we're trying to eat more vegetables. We're trying to eat more vegetables. We're trying to do things in our body, but then all of a sudden we're avoiding bread, we're avoiding pasta, we're avoiding the bad grains, but we're just eating a bunch of sweet potatoes and other things that still have negative impacts on our blood sugar. So we want to err on the side of like more non-starchy food. You can't share this video. It'll be on YouTube. You can share it there, but you can like invite people into this group so they can get the Thursday trainings, but it will be on YouTube and you should get that link in your email. Starchy vegetables. So instead of like just a bunch of, and not that you can't have sweet potatoes, but we just probably do it too much, especially if we're trying to eat more vegetarian or we're trying to like, you know, avoid all the breads and the pastas. You want to err on the side of like starchy options like mushrooms and dark leafy greens and broccoli and different things that have all the nutrients and micronutrients that can help lower inflammation, regulate detox pathways, etc. The other thing, especially when we talk about like vegetarianism and whatnot, is like we overload on legumes, and that can be a big problem, right? And so legumes are great. They're filled with fiber, can help with digestion, can help us support good bacteria, and help support that microbiome. But when you have blood sugar issues, the starch in the legumes actually can spike the blood sugar and other things that increase inflammation. And so we have to be very careful, especially if we're not eating meat and where we getting our B vitamins, where we getting our nutrition from, but of eating too many starchy vegetables, too many legumes, too many good grains and whatnot. So just be careful. And again, we have that whole summer slim down challenge is built and developed for you to develop intermittent fasting, develop mindset, develop morning routines, get a little bit of movement and exercise, and just begin your summer. And that's already kind of going, but begin that summer healing and having it right now. And the last thing that I kind of say and bring up is like, you only want to focus on blood sugar. You go to your doctor, your blood sugar is high, and they're like, well, let's just focus on your blood sugar. Let's focus on your blood sugar, metformin, insulin, glyburide, whatever, whatever it is. But the problem is, it's not just one piece, it's every piece, which is why we say all the time, we do not guess, we test on everything, and that is how we get amazing results. It's not focusing on one thing, it's focusing as you as a whole. It's focusing on your triggers, your causes, your fires. Again, the immune responses that are causing the house to burn down to cause the symptoms. Have you had a stool test to find out exactly what your gut and your microbiome look like? Have you had your ducts, your hormones, your adrenals tested? Do we have fires and EBV issues that need to be addressed? Do we know our food allergies so we can put a custom nutritional plan together? So that it's just we're eating good foods doesn't mean you're not eating foods that you're allergic to. You have to be very, very careful with just doing what everyone else is doing. You need to do what's right for you. And if you can just start following some of those tips and some of those tricks, you can start managing the blood sugar a little bit better. But again, I think having the magnesium in that joyful to help with mood, to help with the magnesium, the glandular to help with the liver, to help with the B vitamins, the methylation, the detoxification, the multivitamin, the vitamin D with all the health benefits we saw there, are all just good things and things that you guys should look at and consider as you're trying to figure out exactly what to do to take your health to the next level. Again, nothing ever will trump the fact that we have testing available to you so that we can find the answers and uniquely customize everything to you. But if you're ready for change and transformation, what you want to do is you want to jump on that summer slim down challenge. And I will put the link, I got to go find it or have a staff give it to me. I'll put the link in the comments here and join the summer slim down challenge. It's going to start in a couple weeks. And we have all the nutrition plans laid out for you. We have all the stress management and the morning routines and the exercises all laid out for you. Super simple and easy to follow. It's going to be fun. We'll talk more about it as the time comes up. But I appreciate you guys listening to me today. Bless you and have a wonderful day.